In 2022, I prayed and did spiritual warfare through all 48 states. I had no phone, no plan, no supporters, no map, in a 35-year-old mini truck. I followed a cloud by day and a fire by night. He taught my hands how to battle and my fingers how to war. I've been on 10,000 back roads. I only knew where I was by the occasional sign. I slept where I fell, and I battled territorials, giants, and other people's devils all across the U.S. Solo at 60. After many months, I'm on my way back to California. My alternator goes out between Tucumcari and Santa Rosa, New Mexico. It's about 115 degrees. I have AAA but no phone. I'm on a deserted highway in New Mexico desert. Nobody stops for 3 days. There is no shade, so I'm laying under my truck on the asphalt in the heat, waiting for someone to have mercy on me. A maintenance worker from a local junkyard had noticed my car there for several days. He stopped and asked if he could help me. He jumped my truck and followed me back to his junkyard. I would spend about 10 days there while we ordered an alternator that had to be shipped from Texas. So I slept in my truck that was broken down in that junkyard, and I was grateful for it. It would have been easier to have the part sent to Santa Rosa, but the Lord called that Forbidden City. I wasn't allowed to enter it. I was 5 miles from Santa Rosa, but 95 miles to Tucumcari. So I had the part sent to Tucumcari. And when I picked it up, I got a new battery too. For the 10 days that I was there waiting for this part, I prayed and interceded on foot throughout that desert around that area. It's beautiful. I began to encounter really strange people. Not a lot, but they were strange if I ran across them. I had no fear in the nation. But these people in New Mexico were purposely trying to make me fear. I didn't understand it. No matter what they said, I just kept saying, I'm not afraid. For example, I would see a truck coming down a dusty road. Out of nowhere, he would show up. I said, hey, what are you doing out here? I said, praying. I said, you're not allowed to be out here. I said, I can be out here on the road. It's a county road. He'd say, you shouldn't be out here. There's coyotes out here. I said, yeah, I just saw one. I just saw a couple of them. I'm not afraid. He said, there's snakes out here. I said, I'm not afraid. He goes, they're big snakes. I said, I'm not afraid. He goes, they could really hurt you. I said, well, so could you, but I'm not afraid. He was actually the biggest snake I saw out there. I think I said that. One day he showed up, just drove by, and just parked in the distance where I could see that he was just watching. When I passed him going back to the junkyard, I was like, hey, how's it going? He said, what are you up to? Still praying. The more I prayed, the weirder it got. People out of nowhere in trucks, really suspicious of me. I am the only person out in the middle of the desert. They even called the sheriff once, but I knew it was legal for me to be where I was. So my truck is fixed and I'm back on the road again. I never know where we're going. Follow the Lord, the host, and the cloud by day. But it's usually a drive. Hardly got past Forbidden City before the cloud rested. I pulled over. Guess we're going to battle. That's what that means. I pull onto a side road and look for the highest point. I stand on the highest point where I can oversee the land and see the Lord and the host. Hashtag see your life. I was surprised at the fierceness of this battle, especially since I had spent 10 days praying not far from there. I wasn't thinking about all the things I agitated while I was praying not far from there. So we engaged in a always victorious battle. I would say 5 or 6 hours it took to bring all the things, all the devils into subjection and clear the atmosphere. After the battle, I sat down on that hill and was overlooking the land. One particular angel that I did not recognize, which is odd because the same team of angels traveled through the whole nation. I had them nicknamed according to the equipment and their position in battle. So this was one I didn't recognize. I tested that spirit by trying to fight it, and it remained. And you see that green dot there? This green dot, right outside Forbidden City. On the desert floor, what looked like oil wells bursting, about 12 of them, but it was black smoke coming from the desert floor, spouts. I was like, my gosh, what is that? This would be the land that I had been walking on. The earth broke open in my sight, and out came this. It didn't have horns. It could morph into different looking beasts. I stood there amazed. The angels and the Lord charged him, not before he turned to me and let me recognize him. I'd seen him before. I've often called him the Destroyer. I've seen him in the Vatican with dark circles around his eyes like a panda. It was unusual to see the Lord himself and an archangel lay on him, push him back into the ground. Oh, he was mad at me, that beast. Revelations 9:11. They had a king over them. Came to mind. Who's they? Who are they that worship the Destroyer in the pit? So moving on now, heading towards Albuquerque. See the other green dot? I just learned that's Zorro Ranch. What is strange is I came home from the nation with very disturbing testimony describing what seemed to be very real international trafficking as I'm there, like trains being unloaded, with school buses and ambulances, road closures that indicated to me that the state's road Department of Transportation was blocking roads so that this could happen. This was before I knew Zorro Ranch was there. I came home with such disturbing testimony. I was on the reservations. I went through the desert, was blocked and stopped. There was so much suspicious stuff going on. The earth and in the spirit. I felt like the Lord was taking me on a tour, like Jeremiah. What do you see? And until recently, none of that made any sense. It didn't get better. It was that whole corridor. When I overlaid the train tracks in New Mexico, then my route made sense. Santa Fe was such a Nephilim demonic mess. And when I was up there, that's when Alec Baldwin's shooting and all that confusion came out of that movie set. We were battling giants just outside of Santa Fe, New Mexico, and they will make all sorts of stuff happen, like magic, surrounded by confusion. This area was like Satan's spin cycle. Got this weird bulge out of the side of my tire. This isn't my truck, but I was stranded somewhere trying to weigh if I should make it to Las Vegas, New Mexico, not Nevada. To a tire shop up there, which I did. It was a blessing. The owners were Christian. They changed my tire and gave me a spare. No, I didn't have a spare. I was trained as a missionary in the deep bowels of Africa. You travel light. When I left California, I didn't know we were going to the nation. He just said one day, let's get ready to go. I don't ask a lot of questions. We were about 9 states in, and I said, wait a minute. Is this a thing? This seems like a thing. Are we doing a thing? He says, follow me. He taught me a lot out there, and I can say, I'm not afraid. You've probably heard me say that I was shocked to learn there are giants in the land in a sleeping state, spread across the whole earth during Noah's flood. They were in trouble with the Lord for 5 things. One of those things was manipulating genetics in his creation. Another was they were under judgment for cooperating with officials, interfering with rulers. When I think about the guy in the pit near Zorro Ranch being associated with a genetic idea, I would conclude those 2 things are connected. I have seen this in several states. I may do a video later. God bless you. Thanks for stopping by. Love you.